Lady. All right, I'll call this special call meeting to order then. We can start with the roll call, but I'm not gonna go through all that because there's really no point. It's just four of us here right now. So I'll label us the four that are here. So George Alvarez is here, Rodolfo Blanco's here, Matthew Casamayor, and Carlos Padilla. We are all here. From there, I'll move on to public comments. All right, so the way this usually works is this is the moment where you state your name, your full name, and what it is you're here for and what it is you're going to comment on. This is kind of going to be a little different. Obviously, we're kind of doing this a little bit more of like an open forum sort of thing as we kind of go through this. So we don't necessarily have to do that. I will leave this open though, if anybody has anything they want to state beforehand, I guess, before we jump in, if anybody wants to take this opportunity to say anything, now's your opportunity, now's your chance. If not, we'll kind of start diving in and see how things go, but if anybody's got anything right now.
May I convey? Because there's so many people here, I'm gonna, if you don't mind, just write your name and maybe company. I'm gonna pass it around, but a lot easier than having to ask you to repeat stuff.
Perfect, yeah, good idea.
You just have that for the minute. Yeah. Whether you're from the public or a company or, you know, identify any. Thank you. They don't want to speak.
Cool. All right. Other than that, the next thing would be order of business, deferrals, additions, deletions, right? So what this usually consists of, and like I said, we're doing this more open forum, right? So usually this is people from the EDC are doing these different things, but if you guys have anything, please feel free to jump in. So the orders of business, deferrals, additions, deletions, this is usually something that's not on the agenda. If we want to add it on there, you know, something that we want to talk about that's not currently there right now. So if anybody's got anything like that right now that they think, you know, something pressing that's not covered in these little topic items that we have here that we want to incorporate, feel free. This is your chance.
Just because there's no quorum,
We're not voting. That's why I'm just adding this to the agenda to talk about.
no,
It's
but
not a vote.
even to add it, I think there's a quorum.
All right.
It's fine.
But
It's not-
I think the others, there's more than enough cover for, you know.
And that's fine. That's fine. I'm not saying we want, I guess that's fine. We want to officially put it on the agenda, but we'll put it under other. I just want to give everybody the opportunity to have what they want to have spoken about. What's
I
up?
would like to begin to kind of give the main idea of the whole business, right? And try
Alright.
to see from there we start. So I think the main idea of the meeting is to have the town, to have the Grahams and to have the merchants to be able to all of us put something together that we rehabilitate Main Street as the main area of Miami Lakes, as it used to be, as it needs to be, for several reasons. Number one, I think because the city deserves, I think that the city has grown tremendously to let it die as how currently it is, because the business that are there really need it. They really need support, because I do see a type of strategy from the city, from the Grahams, from ourselves. We do see something that we are trying to do, but we're not doing it together. So I think the main thing is for figuring out how we actually create a comprehensive plan, a long-term plan, and that we act all of us on it. Also, you know, there is a couple of things that we all as a merchant has questions and would like to know and try to see to understand. But main point, I think, is to be able to organize something that it brings people from other cities to Miami Lakes. The businesses that we currently have here will not survive with only Miami Lakers. We need to advertise the city outside, and I think we have a beautiful city. I think we have plenty of parking spaces for the customer to come, but we don't have a strategy. So we look the webpage, the Instagram or social media from Miami Lakes, advertising Miami Lakes and the Main Street area. There is not too much push. Same thing with the Graham's advertising, which they do have. I believe or what we have done on research. Vanessa, which is our marketing director from Chelas, has been able to create a little presentation of everything that we can probably do. And we also have the support of other merchants here that will be able to share their experience and what they want or what they expect. And mainly, I think is to put all the resources together. We as merchants are here to, you know, to help, to figure it out what we need to do. But there is resources from the city, from the EDC, the Economic Development Committee. I know there is the fair committee that also has certain batches that we can use. The city in general, I know that we contribute to a marketing funds from our billing from the Grahams. So what can we do all together? Because I think that's the main point that so we're pushing everywhere, but we're not pushing anywhere. And those are the results that we are seeing on that. We bring some examples from different cities that they have done different things from Weston, Doral, Coral Gables. So it's how we make it Instagrammable, let's call it, how we make it so people want to come and kind of understand that Miami Lakes is not that city that now people are understanding that it is. Okay, I think that's the main objective, and then we can continue with the things that we have, and then we can go from there and see how can we all work together for better of our town.
Yeah, pretty much hit the nail on the head with that. But that's again why I keep turning to you guys, because this isn't necessarily me. Obviously, when it comes to what needs to be done and how you guys can do it, we're just here to help mediate and, like Carlos said, bring in what we can from the EDC, because that's our whole goal, you know, is to help the small businesses grow and work together. But with that, then I guess I'll start with going down the list of the agenda. And like I said, I personally don't have anything to say specifically about each one of these topics. This is for you guys to kind of go in on, and I know Vanessa here has the whole presentation about each one of these as well. So I'm just gonna start opening the conversation about marketing then, right? That's the first thing we have listed here, right? It's the most broad. So
You want to?
if you have anything.
Hello, hi, I'm doing well, how are you? You want me to do the presentation? I guess,
Let's
yeah,
start
the
with that.
beginning is kind of marketing anyway.
Yeah, I don't think it hurts. That way everyone's on the same page. I think it's a good idea.
No. Not at all. You got your-
Got a motion.
Just want to make sure we're not, I don't want to interrupt you while you're doing your thing.
Sorry, I have to connect it.
Jonathan, is there a way she can connect to the TV? So she
Yeah,
can.
can I-
Yeah,
Okay, cool. Is there a way for me to mirror to there?
I'm not sure. You can
Or I can
send
send
it
it
to me
to-
and we can.
One more thing that I would like to add, what they put in the presentation is that we have been lucky that we are able to create good relationships with the people from the city. You know, the mayor, you know, a bunch of the councilmen and everything. And everybody, and also the Grahams and stuff like that, everybody wants to do something. Everybody, yes, it's exciting, we do it, we, you know, but there's not many actions done. And we as business are suffering because of that. And a lot of people are kind of desperate that we don't see. So it's the main goal is how we all do it together.
Yeah.
And so that way we don't pull strengths and resources to other places. But everybody wants to. Everybody that I talk really wants to, yes, let's do it, blah, blah, blah. And then they don't show up to the meetings, they don't come to this, they don't come to that. And, you know, and I think it's just a matter of everybody to kind of believe that it could happen and believe that there will be a plan implemented to do so. And I think we will get a lot of more people on board and a lot of more support and resources to be able to do so.
No, it's different. If there's one thing from the group, which is pressing that vitally needed. What would it be? What would you suggest? Is it the number one priority? That you need?
I think everything is gonna,
I
be
think
said, but
everything-
I'm gonna let it, I'm gonna let,
It's not just one, it's a
No,
lot,
no,
it's a lot of
I'm
things,
sure-
it's a lot of things
I'm sure-
with the same weight.
I have no doubt about it.
It's a lot of things with the same weight, it's not just marketing is one of them.
I have no doubt.
But there are a lot of things that are affecting us, and that's why we're here.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right, but I mentioned, if there's one pressing one. Or one or two, let's say, what would it be? What would it, is it more presence? Is it more marketing? Is it more that we have to go out of the town and attract? Is it, should we engage the chambers of commerce more? Should we engage, I don't, that's what I asked, because there will be a lot of reasons, right, and there is. There's this one presence,
Presentation.
you know, it is called Main Street, so
Yeah, that's all.
how do we get Main Street on the map? Is there? We can do, everybody can do, is it, and I think it's a team effort, I don't doubt about that. Yeah, you got it. And is there like a priority that you have? Is there? Is it money? Is it financing? Is it better publicity?
I think we have,
Is it
I
a
think,
combination
I
or?
think there is, what we main missing is a plan, a strategy.
Strategy.
Yeah.
Yes, I think because I think there is the resources, it's just that everybody does different things. So how we put together a plan that we can execute and that we move fast. Because summer is really bad for businesses, especially the food industry. And I know retail as well, and we can see the retail suffering as well, but it's how we actually bring more people to Main Street and Miami Lakes in general, right? And I think that's also the main reason is because a lot of people say, oh, let's just do the Grahams, because the Graham is the way we had to tell. But in my opinion, it's the city and the Grahams, because the city wants to charge the sales taxes, wants to charge all the real estate taxes, right? The Grahams, obviously, they want to have their spaces fulfilled and stuff like that. So it's just matter, and as we wanted to survive and hopefully make money one day. So it's just matter to put together a plan, because right now there is none. I know that we've been waiting for the Main Street to be refaced and stuff like that and all of them, but that's gonna take years. And we cannot just wait.
So I think you guys have something prepared, so
Yeah.
let's jump right in, 'cause I think we only have the room for an hour.
We
Um,
go for a presentation
yeah,
and everybody.
Just so you guys know, we are taking minutes, because it's a public meeting, there's a signing sheet going around, please everybody sign in, because I need to have that for the record.
Okay, great.
Yeah, did everybody sign in, or are we missing?
Yeah.
Doesn't look like, yeah, okay, alright, thanks, perfect,
Yeah.
thank you. Go for it, Vanessa.
Okay, hello again. My name is Vanessa. I am the marketing director at Chavas. I do social media marketing for BBs. I'm a Miami Laker my whole life. So I've seen Main Street in its heyday and its not so heyday, and now it's coming back. So I've seen a whole like circle of Main Street, of Miami Lakes in general. And now I have like a unique perspective as being, working hand in hand with the businesses every single day, day in and day out, hosting events, doing marketing, doing these things. So I kind of can see how we can kind of extend that into working with the Grahams, our landlords, working with the town of Miami Lakes that we're part of. And I think the underlying thing is that what we want is cohesion. I think everyone's very separated. Everyone does their own thing, and fingers crossed that something works and something sticks. But I think if we all just work together, I think that's what we all need and want. So I put together this small presentation. We don't have to go through every link just because I know time is pressing. But if you go to the next slide, you can kind of see like, I did a little bit of market research. I did a little bit of kind of ideas that we can do for marketing improvements in general. Some ideas for community events, how we can improve in crowd and traffic, just in general for the area, and just like Main Street of the future, And that's a picture obviously of old Main Street before Main Street was Main Street. Okay. So here, a little bit of market research, right? I wish I could probably pull it up for you, but I'm just gonna give you kind of the bullet points of each one. For me personally, and I think for all of us, we feel that there's no reason why Main Street is not comparable to, example, downtown Doral or Geralda. I think everyone here knows Geralda, right? So Geralda is the umbrellas, all the businesses that are there, which are exactly the same as us. It's shopping and it's food. So it's exactly the same. There's no reason why we can't be as packed as Geralda is in Coral Gables. There's no reason. We can attract people from outside. We can attract people from Miami Lakes. We can do the whole thing. But I think this starts off because everyone today is digital. So website and Instagram and TikTok and all these places, it's super important to be active, to be on trends, to be just in front of people's faces 24/7. That's how the world works today, right? So downtown Doral, some notable things I noticed about their website. These are all notes about the website. I think everyone in general knows Instagram could just probably be better in general, just as far as like posting more consecutively, staying on top of trends, trending audios, like just being on top of it. And it's just about being consistent. I think with everything, you can ask David, being consistent at the gym helps. So being consistent on Instagram is also gonna help. To start, downtown Doral, something I noticed, they feature the living spaces, which we also have, and office retail spaces with demographic info, which is very active and updated constantly. They also have an updated events page, which is huge because speaking personally for me, Chelas hosts events all the time. We have something special every single day where there's an event once a month, no matter what. And we like to host huge things, right? So like Cinco de Mayo is huge for us. We hosted Pina Colada Fest last week. Next up, we're hosting a Tiki Festival. Like all these things should be there. And if you go to MiamiLakes.com right now, none of that's there. And we're putting a lot of blood, sweat, and tears into these events. And nobody even knows about it, unless you follow us. That's the only way that people can know. So I think having a website, keeping that calendar activated, I think would be really good. They also have a map feature, which should be pretty simple, I think, setting up because it's pretty common through all of these places. And it kind of shows you an overall, like the mall, basically. Like you are here and then you can hover over the spaces and, oh wow, there's a bakery. Oh wow, there's a coffee shop. Oh wow, there's Chelas. Oh, it's right here. Like we can bar hop or whatever. Whatever the case, you know. So I think like having a map with a directory listing and explanation of parking, which Miami Lakes has the best parking on the planet because it's free. It's amazing. So that's like something attractive that can attract people because Doral you have to pay, Coral Gables you have to pay, everybody you have to pay. I think the only place here you don't have to pay is Pembroke Gardens. So that's huge. We have a parking lot, all that good stuff. Pembroke Gardens, I noticed they have a ton of visuals. So all of us work really hard at making our places beautiful. Why not feature it? Sweat 440 has an amazing facility. That should be all that we have, like a really cool gym. Let's put it out there. We have a really cool, nice speakeasy, Santa Diabla. That should be there too. That's something super unique that not every place has. So probably like keeping out the visuals, like whether it's videos, photos, both, just like adding that to the website too. That's also missing. What else?
That's a good question. Which website are you looking at when you reference the Miami Lakes website?
That's a great question. I believe it was,
Because there's a Main Street website and then there's like the Grand Company's website and then there's obviously the Town of Miami Lakes website. So I was just curious, like when you're looking, which one you're looking at.
I believe it's Main Street Miami Lakes, but again, it's super confusing, right? So like, how do I know which one to look at? Is it the town or is it Main Street? I think I was looking at Main Street.
Okay.
I can't remember right now. I made this a
That's
while
okay.
ago. But yeah, so I think like right now I'm looking at the events here on mainstreet.com or mainstreetmiamilakes.com and it only has the theater and the farmers market. So there's no way for us to the businesses to maybe submit an event. That's an idea.
There is. So we'll talk about it later. I don't want to cut you. I'm so excited to hear about this because I see your energy on all of their socials and I love it. And you do a great job. And so yeah, we've asked and one thing I'm really excited and I loved your kickoff and I'm sorry. I think most of you I introduced I'm Laura. I'm Philip's brother with the Grand Cookies, but I love this. y'all, and I look at you and I can't believe that you've all joined us since 2020. I think that the transformation that you all and the energy and the creativity that you bring to Main Street is transformative for our town, for our community, for our business, for your business. And so I want you guys to know that Philip, he's the visionary on getting you guys all, convincing you to come to Miami Lakes, and then Sarah and I are the ones that try to take care of you when you're here, and that's why Philip's not here tonight. So everybody asks where Philip was. I'm Philip's sister. I'm, not as exciting or whatever, but I
Very well,
I
yeah.
do a lot of the hard work that he doesn't have to do once he brings you guys here, but I'm so excited to have you here because for so long, we obviously have a passion for Miami Lakes that you guys share, which is wonderful. And for so long, we've had a lot of businesses that really didn't want to collaborate with us. And so we would send out an email, please send us content, please send us your events, and crickets, right? And we would try to have Main Street collaboration meetings and nobody would show up unless we begged them and they were our friends. And so to have you guys in this room excited to do something is so exciting to us. And so we're really happy. And so I just want to make sure that I understood what you were looking at. And, we look to all these places too for ideas and what they're doing and how they're invigorating their street. So sorry, I just wanted to make sure I was on the same page.
So actually for example, Downtown Doral has a super great social media. I really like because they have like a voice, pretty much, this guy that goes all around like, it's like, so in Downtown Doral today, and he goes to like the businesses and stuff, but it's content that people engage with. He shows them like secret things, like, oh yeah, if you go in here, you can get this for free, or you can get this discounted, or if you say, Downtown Doral, whatever, if you found us on Instagram, we can get this.
I'm going to just interrupt because of matter of the time, and I think that should be, the main idea will be to kind of generate a little plan, right? Today, because we only have like an hour, right? So if we generate a plan of how we're going to execute, we can go through all those ideas, which I know she's very excited about to share, but I know we're not gonna be able to see everything and then kind of figure it out. Okay, how can we act quick on it? Because as the same way that you are mentioning it, and we are very proud because most of us are Miami Lakers, and we really wanted to push it and everything, we feel that we are alone. We feel that we're just trying and trying and trying, and we're bringing people, and when the people that we bring, they love it. And then we look at social medias for Miami Lakes or the Miami Laker or the Miami things, and it's 1,700 followers. So it's none of those cities have. They have hundreds of thousands. So it's part of why we don't become that. Right, and I think there's many things that it happens, right? Let's see if she continue with those things, and then we can go over all those.
Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna try to cut this part short because I think everybody kind of knows already. But yeah, it's pretty much, I think the bottom line is cohesion and just working together, collaboration, us working with the grants, working with the town, how we can make this better. And I think these places are a good example. I don't know exactly how they work. I don't work in, let's say, CocoWalk. I don't know how they work together, but Miami Lakes is small enough that we could just like collaborate and, hey, look guys, like, what are we gonna do for next month? Like, are there events? This and that? Like, everybody I think would be super down to do that.
To add one point to that, I'm sorry, I'm bringing all the ideas of everybody, right? The other thing that we have is like, for example, to have this meeting, we have had 3 meetings from the ADC, and the ADC has meetings every month. So it's 3 months. So just to be able to have this meeting, then how long more is gonna take for all of us to create a project and stuff like that? So probably we're talking for next year, but next year, most of those exciting business may not be here. And we don't want that to happen. We really don't, because then it's going to come back to what you were saying with new tenants that they don't want it. And I think it's the great opportunity to be able to do so.
Well, I think, the town has a great role to play in this, right? So I think to your point, our boardroom's always available and there's not a 1-hour time limit and we could book it tomorrow, right? So I think it could be smart in this meeting if we only have limited time to identify where we see the town's input, because if it's something that is collaboration between the tenants and the grant companies, I think that's easy to like have an ongoing conversation that we don't have to schedule 3 months in advance for all of the like reasons. And so, I think identifying in this meeting more of what the town can do to help in that. I think the town has done a great job during COVID. Trying to step up their social media engagement and their content. And some of that died off, and I don't know who was in charge of that or how it came to be, or, you know, all those things, but I think to your point, selling the town as a whole is helpful. Because at the end of the day, I'm a boring CPA who's a landlord. So for me to come up with wonderful strategies to market, you know, things. It's not good. That's why we need you guys, and the collaboration is a good thing. But I don't know how in these towns the cities or the towns collaborate to help generate business. It's not my specialty. So I think, you know, if we wanna, if we're concerned about time, we wanna make sure we get through things. If there's things you wanna table and have a follow-up meeting, like just with us, that's always on the table.
Just so to answer that question, because we had the meeting here at the ABC, like how the city would help, right? And there are the things that we identify, right? I don't know, I don't think Danny's here, but Danny from permits and stuff like that, to be able to see, you know, what made the city be able to not be so strict, not so many permits, so many things to be able to do a lot of other stuff that we wanted to do. Like, you know, just to give you an example, we are able to do Unchelas Cinco de Mayo every month. We don't do it because of all the hassle that it takes me 3 months to get all the permits for Cinco de Mayo. And they work fantastic and they work really good, but it's not just them, it's a bunch of other things. And that's why we don't do other bigger concerts, we don't do other stuff, right? But the city input could be like, let's call it for all the businesses that are interested to have one permit a year. Okay, you renew your permit and stuff like that. Also, there is a bunch of resources in what sense, for example, my understanding, I don't know if this is true, my understanding, but my understanding was that there were some funds provided to the city to light up all Main Street. Okay, those are things that the city may know if they did receive the funds, they did not receive the funds, stuff like that. The
Do you
other
think in the
thing,
past that's happened?
no, not in the
Like in the
past.
future, there's available.
No. I think they already received it, but recently, talking about like 6-7 months ago. Okay, my understanding, I don't know if it is true.
And sorry, streetlights or like,
No, they receive funds to put street lines and light up the whole Main Street.
because Main Street's private,
Yeah.
so you guys know,
Mhm.
we own it. We maintain it, something's broken, we fix it, right? Anything other than Main Street is the town. And so I know that there has been a lot of shortage in funding for lights. Cause like a bunch of the intersecting streets on Main Street, like Bull Run, New Barn and Bull Run. Yeah, like Grand Park, like those lights, that we have been following up with the town monthly, weekly,
Yeah.
to say it was making town center dark and we were concerned and I guess the funding had run out. So they had, you know, it took months to get that addressed, but I didn't, if it's that funding, hopefully we're, you know, good to go for a while.
Okay, okay,
Yeah.
those are the things. And also, and I know that there is, like, for example, there is the social media efforts that they have done. And on the social media efforts, they don't work together, right? Same thing, every committee has budgets to be able to contribute to different things. Like ABC tries to do certain events, we do different things, like we do things like that, right? The cultural affairs have funds to be able to do events and stuff like that. Is how we work all together to be able to create those. And I think it just put together a plan and says, okay, are there more funds, right? And I think those are the things, because I think it's also important for the city that to maintain it activated. Is responsibility of all of us as the merchants, Graham's as a landlords, and the city to maintain things. And that's why is this to be able to do. Of course, there is more bureaucracy and times and stuff like that. But the idea is to be able to get together and to be able to execute something that we maybe just come and ask you and figure it out how we be able to pass it and so.
just bouncing on that, that's why we have Lyle and Jonathan here too, because you guys are from the communications department of the town, right? So when it comes to the marketing of the town, I can kind of like what she was saying too, when it really comes down to the marketing, it's really a collaboration between you guys, right? When it comes to marketing the town itself.
What I'll say is, and it's sort of a vacuum is that, I mean, I can't speak for the town, the whole administration, the wishes of the council. First of all, yeah, my name is Jonathan. I work with the town's communications department, marketing, digital services, that's our social medias, our website, photo, video. Anything that, however we present ourselves out there, it's kind of what I have my hands in, so. A lot of the efforts specifically with Shop Miami Lakes have gone away, there's not enough personnel or let's say resources out there for us to go out and create content on Main Street, which is like. You see some municipalities, as opposed to their local chambers or their downtown. Websites, which is sort of what I would imagine the downtown Doral and Pembroke Gardens, like those aren't the municipal pages, those are. Chambers and private businesses that have footings in those areas and. So there's only so much that the municipal side can do. But a lot of it does, I mean, I love capturing beautiful photos of the town, of people at events and. People smiling and vendors handing out things at the Easter event, so it's really. We selfishly, I love to capture those photos, I'd love to have more events like that, it's just sort of, there's only. I don't know where the efforts are in putting those. Beautiful photo worthy events. Around my lakes and especially on Main Street outside of, the committees have, their schedule of events, which is. Or 4th of July or senior events and. What's we have to have a sort of push for, the Main Street events, like what, if we have a Main Street concert or. Something other like, what's the draw after that, because once it's over, The event will, break down and then what's left, what's the meat that people bite onto, so it's, at least that's the town's approach. Or my approach, rather, I don't speak to this.
If I may, my name is Lyle Pastora. I am the special events coordinator. Really, I serve as the liaison for a lot of the boards here that we have in the town. Specifically, I work with cultural affairs, anything they may need from the volunteer board to staff, or vice versa. I think the reality is that you guys probably do need like a strategic plan in place, although I know I guess we're kind of desperate and want something short term to maybe get the ball rolling. I think everybody's kind of aware of what maybe the issues are in place are. I think one of the quickest solutions in terms of just getting the ball rolling, right? Like, I don't think this is the solution to everything, but I think the collaboration between the committees, only because, as you mentioned, special events is a thing. It takes a lot of work and I'm sure budget on the business's end. But the reality is that if you go through the committees, it's kind of an easier access into making things happen. It's not my place to speak on behalf of Cultural Affairs Committee. They are the board that makes those decisions on what they want to see. But I'd like to bring up the example that they are currently working at, they do an annual event called Concert in the Park. And I think that maybe you guys should just feed off of what they're already doing and maybe just integrate Main Street onto it. It's probably like an easy fix as to getting the ball rolling and what you guys want to see there. So for example, Concert in the Park, they're bringing a jazz band group that they do every year and they do it in the park. Felicia's been with the committee many years and she can talk to as to what locations they've done before. I know they've done it in the golf course before, and now we've been doing it at Veterans Park, but maybe there is an opportunity there to maybe bring it to Main Street. So I just wanna, I think it's a good idea to feed off of what they're already doing and just bringing it together, maybe helps the businesses. Again, that's a decision for them to take, but it's a good idea. And then one other thing I want to mention before I hand it off to the chair, is that something that's coming up in the near future that benefits some of you for promotion purposes is the culinary bike tour. I know a lot of you have been part of that before. I know there's some new businesses, but I've probably reached out to some of you by now. And I'm happy to talk to you after the meeting just to make sure we get you guys involved, but I also think that that's a good event that includes the businesses in the area.
Yeah, you mentioned you wanna,
Thank you for inviting me. As Kyle said, I've been involved with the cultural affairs since its inception in 2001. And I've seen a lot of things happening on Main Street. We used to do a lot of events on Main Street. We used to have, I made a little blog here because I know I get nervous when I talk and I forget. In 2005, we created an event called Main Street Live. And we used to bring bands to Main Street, small bands, not a big deal. But I was brainstorming myself the other day, and it's like a little history. I can make a copy of this and give it to you so you know the history of it. And it was like a test. Of course, our budget was very limited, like always, and we always, try to bring. Because I love Main Street, and I remember your grandparents walking together on Main Street and seeing them all the time. And the grandparents or different. And but yeah, I mentioned it to Matthew on our quarterly chairs committee, and he got very excited. He remembered when he was a kid coming to Main Street, and I think it's time we bring it back. And I created like a list. Actually, the committee created a database to include artists and musicians. So I'm going to reach out to people that I know, and there are already people that want to come to Main Street and then play music. And it's just a matter of working together. I think it's important that a good marketing plan is put together with everybody's input and count on us. I mean, I always tell the town every time I give my presentation that culture is good business. I remember when working for Lauderdale, the cultural department, right on Broward, I used to go there and I found this button, which I can't find anymore. And I fell in love with it. He said, it's culture good business. People go to Europe, spend money over there. And why? Because culture draws them to it. And we can do the same thing here. We can have like an open, I don't know if you want to rent the spaces, but we can have like a gallery that people can hang out and every Friday night or Saturday night, whenever, we have to decide on the day. I think Friday nights when we used to do it is to bring people in. I know we have separate events going on through the year, and we have a lot. I mean, I created this on my own. It's what's coming up, and it was very successful at the 4th of July event because people were taking pictures of it. Because we have flyers, individual flyers, but yeah, they're put away like maybe a month before. But people like to plan their activities. So I don't know. I mean, the committee, I was able to get their consensus, and they're very happy to work with the entire economic development committee. So whatever you need, let us know.
Thank you, Felicia.
Let
me- Yeah, I think we wanna get to, well, yes, I agree. And guys, I'm sorry, I'm the one that's keeping minutes and keeping time. I just, for the sake of time, we have to give the room at 6:30, so let's try and. We have until 7? Okay.
Yeah. Thank you.
Try to go as quick as I can.
Okay.
With touching all the points, but if you want, you can go to the next slide. So here, these are just super basic marketing improvements that I personally thought of that we can probably do quick and easy, especially because we all, I guess the town and Grams, everybody kind of has like access to these things a little faster than, let's say, I do. Direct mailing should be super simple. I think that's something we can probably work together. I don't know who with, but we have access to all homes. So like, why can't we, have some sort of, I don't know if it's like, I don't really know how to like go about that, like what the plan is, but direct mailing I think would be great. Email blasts that you guys have databases, I'm sure, because we only have so much, right? Like, and the individual businesses only have so much. But I think if it comes from the town or if it comes from the ground, it's like, hey, like look at what's happening in Main Street, like, or like look what's happening in Miami Lakes this month, like something along the lines of like a newsletter will be really great. And I think working together, I don't know who the owner is, but the Miami Laker would be awesome because everybody in Miami Lakes reads Miami Laker, including the parents, every single time we got it. So maybe having some sort of like small business, I don't know, starter kit, and one of that is like an ad, or like every month there's an editorial on somebody, like that is guaranteed, like you already know, like you're gonna come out in the Miami Laker once a month. I mean, once a year, let's say, no matter what, you know, as a business. So I think like using those tools that are kind of easy for some people's fingertips to grab onto that are not mine. I think will be very cool. But again, I think it all goes back to just being cohesive and having a plan that works together.
What I'll say is for the town, we do have our opt-in email blasts. It's the hair over 12,000 people that have signed up. We send out monthly blasts, depending on, it gives a list of upcoming events. Some events are naturally heavier than others. So if 4th of July is coming up, if you know, the farmer's market has a constant run in there because it's every Saturday. There's not much more changing with that. I mean, I won't speak for well, I can speak probably more to the direct mailing. It's really, if the town wanted to, I've wanted to create a magazine for the town. There are some holdbacks that there are with that because everything comes back to resources and funding. I think that'd be a great way to promote events that are coming up. You know, we post our monthly Instagram stories, and our event calendar on Facebook is always running. We always communicate with the Laker upcoming events. That's something that I and I both do. I just think, and I think we're all sort of hovering over the same topic. It's just, how do we bring it to Main Street? You know, how do we bring that? Because, you know, we can have a million events in Veterans Park, but that's not the focus
I think
of
let's-
this discussion.
Why don't we let Vanessa finish?
Yeah.
And then I'm keeping track of a list of your wants, because I think a lot of these things actually, I'm realizing already exist. It's just, they're siloed. So if you guys don't know who to go to, you don't know that Jonathan runs the email listserv, you know? So that's all it is. It's just, and that's why the Economic Development Committee, like Carlos said, spent 3 months trying to get you guys together. Because that's what we're here to do, is just connect the points so that everybody can get to where we need to go. So let's go down the whole list.
Yeah.
And we'll do comments at the end, yeah?
Well, the website, I already kind of touched upon that, social media as well. I think bringing influencers in, as much as they're like not our favorite people. Influencers have a huge reach, so that's gonna attract not Miami Lakers, which we already have access to Miami Lakers because we're here. That brings other people, so it's just gonna increase everyone's business as a whole, as a destination, whether it's for food, whether it's for shopping, everything along those lines, the hotel, the movies, everything. I think like a few influencers would be amazing, golden touch to the Main Street. If you wanna go next. This is something that I came up with as well, community events. We all know how much Miami Lakers love to get together. It's already proven through the Miami Lakes Food and Wine Festival, which is a private event, and the Cars for a Cure, which happens on Main Street. Cars for a Cure is incredible. Everyone loves Cars for a Cure. Let's do more of those, you know, like whether that's weekly live music. I think what she was saying, Main Street Live, is awesome. I think we should try to see how we can go about that, maybe having small, you know, bands just to activate it and just have people there. And maybe we can once a quarter or like even once a year, like have someone big, you know, come, like we're all kind of like work together, have someone really big to like attract, you know, outsiders to come. Holiday events, he says, like they do the Easter events, they do it, but not on Main Street. Like we can do, like I know the merchants all got together to do the Halloween, the trick-or-treating on Main Street. We can do Easter, we can do even Cinco de Mayo. Cinco de Mayo doesn't only have to be Cinco de Chelas, which I mean, I'm biased, so like, yes, I'm Cinco de Chelas. But like, we can do something, you know, along those lines, something big. Christmas, like the tree lighting, I know we do as well, but like just more to attract people that come here that are not Miami Lakers. Because we already have Miami Lakers, like, and I'm very grateful for them. I'm not being spoiled, but we have to like bring more people, you know? And then special activation, something I would love to do, like I would love to like have my hands in this, is Taste of Miami Lakes, which is something like Miami Spice. Miami Spice is awesome, and all the businesses I know benefit from that because I used to work with Coral Gables people. So Taste of Miami Lakes would be great, and we can have our own kind of activation, whether that's, you know, encouraging locals to go and try all the places. We can invite outside people to come, like Miami Spa Month always works. Miami Spice always works. We can have our own Taste Miami Lakes. So and we can also do something, so that's for like the restaurant side. And then the small businesses that are not necessarily restaurants can do something like on Small Business Saturday for shopping, like we call it like Loving Miami Lakes, and like, you know, all the businesses, you know, agree to some sort of discount or like some sort of promo, like if you shop all of them, you get something, I think, I don't know, something like, just, I think, like I said, the bottom line is just working more together. Along those lines, and also the anniversary of Main Street, which I don't personally know when that is, but I think a Main Street anniversary would be really cool, like a big thing. Next slide. Something else, I don't know if we've ever done this before, I personally don't know of it, but a Main Street art walk.
Mhm.
I know in Wynwood it works awesome. Wynwood is a very touristy section, obviously, but we can have our own. And if we attract enough cool like activations and we promote it on social media, we promote it on Eventbrite and all these different platforms that are out there. We could do press for it, press releases, all this bunch of stuff. We can do something along these lines, whether that's just art, we can have little vendors, kind of like farmers market style, but not farmers market. We can have food trucks if possible, like just make it just activated and filled and just like, so Main Street can be like, oh my God, like, wow, what's happening in Main Street? It's so flashy, you know? Next slide. I think there's only 2 more slides, I swear. More events, obviously, like I said, like Cars for a Cure. If maybe we do Cars for a Cure twice, that'd be awesome. I know they would love that because they're gonna raise money for it. Everybody really likes it, and it's great PR for Main Street, for the town, for everybody. And Cars for a Cure is obviously a good cause. And then Taste of Miami Lakes, like I said, I touched upon that already. Taste of Doral already exists, so if they can do it, we can do it. And I know that we can do better because we're like a close, for me, like Miami Lakes is closer knit, so like we'll all be able to really have our hands in it and make sure that it's a success. And then lastly, this is more like overreaching, I think, but you know, for the future. The next slide
Oh, yeah. I'll say.
is why not have a billboard for Main Street? That would be amazing. That'd be so sick. If you're driving down the Palmetto, you can see Main Street on like a billboard. I know like,
There is one available.
and there's one available right now. So like, and you can say like exit now, whatever, we could strategically put it. But I think that'd be really amazing. And I don't know where this particularly could go. I put here on main roads surrounding Main Street, like 67 from Miami Lakes Drive. But flutter flags, like those little flags, that's a really blurry picture because I got it from Google Maps. But like promoting like all of our businesses that already exist, it's just a way of just visually, like people are reminded that it exists, you know, whether it's like a sign that says like BB's Big House, you know, like big, or like Swap for 40 or like Chatla's, like, you know, like just as you're driving, like, oh yeah, like, or like you're in the car, like, oh, where should we go? Like, and then you just see a sign, like, oh, there it is, boom, and you go. So I think that would help everybody. And that's it.
Great job, Vanessa. I think there's a lot of work into that. I want to take a quick moment before we start getting comments, just to kind of like give a frame to everything that I took down. So that was a phenomenal list, and I mean, I think everybody agrees all of that would benefit Main Street, would benefit Miami Lakes undoubtedly. I think the biggest thing that's missing, because I know we're comparing the town of Miami Lakes to a lot of different you know, cities and towns and municipalities that are very successful at doing this, and I think the biggest difference between what they're doing and what we're not doing is it seems very evident that they have either one dedicated person or a dedicated events team to making that happen for that town. We don't have that here, you know, like what would make all of this happen cohesively and quickly is like, you know, no offense, Carlos, but they would hire Vanessa, right? To make it happen like now, right? So, you know, if you guys want to hire Vanessa, you know, that would be really cool. So ultimately, if you look at the things that we do have, right? So Cars for a Cure, that's a Graham Company event, right? So if we look at we don't have Taste of Miami Lakes, but we have Miami Lakes Food and Wine. Lynn puts that on every year. We have, you know, the 4th of July celebration, right? So with the Cultural Affairs puts that on every year. Everything that we do have that is successful, if you notice, the one thing that they have in common is someone takes ownership and responsibility for it. Right? Which is why if that one person is on vacation that year or wants to take a break after 20 years of doing it, it doesn't happen. There's not that continuity because it's not necessarily ingrained in the DNA that happens every year on rinse and repeat, right? So there's no budget allocation. Everything is fundraise for it. Or again, if it's a Graham Company event, that's their event to put on and decide, can we afford to have 2 Cars for a Cure every year, right? So it's something that's difficult for us to say like, we want to turn the key and have it happen multiple times a year or have 3 of these types of events happen once a year, right? So I think what we're coming down to it is, obviously, we want, we would like to have more events. We would like to have better social media, but we want to accomplish this without having one point person for it. So for example, for Town of Miami Lakes, there's the Town of Miami Lakes Instagram, which I believe is run by the town. And I think it's pretty much Jonathan that runs it in his spare time, right? Because he's not the social media content manager for the town. We don't have a position for that for the town, right? We have Downtown Miami Lakes as an Instagram handle, and I think Graham Companies runs that, right? Or someone from Graham, and it has like 500 followers because they don't have someone full-time to do that, right? So this is not putting blame on anyone. I'm here just kind of like sharing what I'm seeing, but this is where we're at. And if we want to improve on it, I think really what has to happen, which, may not happen today. I think today is a good eye-opening meeting to, these are the gaps, right? Is these 3 different pieces, Graham Companies, Main Street Merchants, Town of Miami Lakes needs to come together and decide who can be responsible realistically, right? Understanding that we have a limited budget and limited staff to maybe get together once a month or something like that and make a master plan to make these things happen. And understanding that I don't think, unless, you guys maybe want to tell us, I don't think there's a secret budget agenda line item in the town to fund, magically 5 events overnight. I don't think we have that available, right? Yes.
I'd like to add, sorry, today I took a workshop with Miami-Dade Department of Cultural Affairs, and they have funding, and I asked them that question specifically. If we have, let's say, because we don't have a cultural center, which I've been trying for years to have, and we use the church, we use the Main Street Theater, in the town itself to do our events. So they do have money, but they have the deadline. I have to attend a workshop and all that, but they do have money to do activities. So I mentioned if we want to do an activity on an outdoor concert, would they provide the money? I said, well, apply for it. And Ashley Thomas, she's one of the people in that department, and I've been in contact with her. They want to do a presentation with the towns to show them that you can make money with the arts, the town. So we need to tap into those too. I mean, I'll be the liaison if you want me to, because I'm trying to bring money to the town to do those kinds of activities. So I think it's important. We need to tap into every source, and they have the money.
Great.
So, but we have to apply for it.
That's great. Yeah.
I heard from a few of the merchants just to see what, because we live it every day. I mean, we have probably 25 minutes left. There's 2 points of, in your eyes, what would improve your situation? We need a bigger person. I mean, I just like to hear the person.
I mean,
And
definitely.
my second thing you can address later is, and I mean this with respect, because I just don't know. I know there's a marketing fund. Who's in charge? Because I see a lot of possibly good ideas. Everybody wants it, but it'd be good to bring to the town or us through the town is, hey, I got 10 items. Maybe none of them are possible, but maybe 2 of them are, maybe 8 of them are. But without a starting point, I think to
Right.
follow up on your saying, it's difficult. I'm sitting here trying to pick up everything, obviously in an hour, but it's like, can we, hey, I like this, let's go forward with it. It's just not what makes the most sense. And I don't want to take away from your time, but you can go first, I guess.
Yeah,
Sorry. Sure.
before talking, I have a couple questions. First one, when Main Street is gonna be renovated? Because when they brought me here 2 years, almost 2 years ago, they told me Main Street was be renovated. There's gonna be a lot of people to be able to be Main Street great like before, like some years when I started living here. And I've been Miami Lakers for almost 20 years, and I'm not planning to move because I love Miami Lakes as a citizen, as a part of the community. But to have business is something different, totally opposite. I mean, like, we're really struggling. We are struggling with our business, and yes, the marketing and social media, that's what we need to improve. I don't know who's going to make it, but we need somebody in charge of Graham, City of Miami Lakes, in charge of marketing the city, the Main Street. That's what we need. We are on Main Street, but nothing happening. It's a ghost street in a ghost town. And on top of that, during the weekdays, we don't make any money. And Friday and Saturday, the best day we have, It's a barricade, it's like a curfew, Friday, I don't understand that. I don't care what the kids are doing, but that's why we have police or something, security in charge. But for me, it doesn't make any sense that you place barricade or whatever.
Mhm, the barricades.
And ugly, by the way, and two police car with the lights like that, it's like a crime is happening every Friday, Saturday night. When people from other city come to Miami Lakes because they want to visit La Cumbancha or whatever, when they see that, they leave. They don't go in because there's no way to go in. When I'm coming from my house to my place, there's no way that I can go in. I have to jump fences. Because the cinema is closed, everything, it's fences everywhere. So there's no way we can go in Main Street on Friday, Saturday night. It's a curfew. It's curfew, period. So we're not making any money. And I don't understand. Like Main Street, it's like Lincoln Road. If you do that in Lincoln Road, nobody's going to Lincoln Road or in Doral. How are you gonna block the only Main Street you have in town, the principal street? You can block it. I mean, beside the marketing, it doesn't make sense for me. And I mean, like, it's not benefit for the cinema. It's not a benefit for any of the places inside Main Street. So I don't understand that. So if you have any explanation that why you're doing that, probably, but it's not. It's totally killing the businesses on Main Street. Totally. So I don't see that Main Street is gonna be renovated to be able to, some people, some big names from the city to come and open in Miami Lake and make, Main Street a huge place, a destination, not for Miami Lakers, from other people, that's what we need. That people from all over Miami comes to Main Street, to Miami Lakes. They don't know it. They never heard Miami Lakes. Oh, Miami Lakes, I never heard about that. So, and Main Street, they don't know about that. People know about Doral, about Pembroke Pines, about town and country in Doral, in Kent, but they don't know about Miami Lakes. They don't know about Main Street. They don't know Miami Lakes exists. So we need to do something in order to bring those big names to open business here. And to do that, first we have to avoid that the people we have don't leave or don't close, because it's gonna be even worse. Because if we have that, I don't think a lot of people they gonna come. They say, "Oh, they closed." No, I don't know. Something happening there, and they won't come. So that's my main problem. The main question I have. Yeah, marketing and blocking Main Street on Friday and Saturday night.
Anybody else wanna share something?
I can answer those, or I can hear more topics. Which you prefer to proceed?
hear more. You can hear Danny.
Why don't you answer those and then?
My topics are the same that we just went through, right? I guess right now, since we don't have a person, like you said, designated to do that, I feel like we're leaving this place with the same answers, right? So I think right now, if we can get information of the people that we can contact, I know with the grounds we can contact the Wiley sister. I'm totally.
Laura, it's okay. Sarah Nannery's in.
But besides that, we are on the same.
I think what we should probably do is create it like a committee per se.
Share a few things, because I just wanna touch on those points, because they're really important. I want to touch on some things that you commented on from the presentation, which was wonderful. So what I did before I came today, I did it quickly, so it's not thorough, but I looked at what we collect from the tenants for the marketing fund and what we spend. So you guys know what we spend. You're always welcome to understand that, right? That's important. So last year, 2023, we collected a little over 94,000 from every tenant on Main Street. The main thing that we use the marketing fund dollars for is the Festival of Lights and holiday decorations. So you guys know you pay CAM, that's part of your rent. The CAM doesn't pay to put up all the lights, put up all the decorations, any of that kind of thing. That comes out of the marketing fund. So last year, the Festival of Lights cost around $87,000. So of the 94,000, 87,000 went to the Festival of Lights. Wow. So I want you, to understand, right? Because these dollars are big. Putting up all those lights, putting together the event, it's expensive. Okay. So at the end of the day, there's also Laker ads. The Laker is owned by the Graham companies, so we're your people for them too. That we do a monthly ad for Main Street in the Laker because we do think it's really important that Main Street's featured. So that's another $12,000 of Laker ads. It's in our company. Cosmo Marketing, who's a tenant on Main Street, right? They're a tenant, not anymore. Okay. We pay them $6,000 to handle the social media a year. The website is $300 a month. You know, just to change out tenants, you know, simple design, hosting, all of that, it's $3,600. So for those things, we spent $108,720 and we collected 94. You guys are all very savvy business people. We did not collect enough to cover the bare bones. We developed a marketing fund when we developed Main Street, which we all know was a really long time ago. And none of us can remember a time where we ever increased the rate. And anybody who sells anything knows that if you don't increase the rate, you can't get more every year. We've not done it because what happens when we have the shortfall between 108 and 94,000 is the Graham companies pays for the rest of it. And you know, we're happy to be a sponsor of the Festival of Lights. It's an event that's special to all of us and we think it's important. It drives people, you know, so be it. But I think, you know, I think there's some ways that I'd like to have a follow-up meeting on the website and social media, but we're not spending a whole lot of money on it because there isn't money to be spent. And so I think, you know, we could look at what a new budget for this looks like. But I wanted you to know what's being done right now. As part of Festival of Lights promotions, pretty much every year we do get billboards. So you know, from like November, I don't know when they start, but there was like six or eight billboards this fall leading up to the Festival of Lights, promoting the Festival of Lights and encouraging people to come to Main Street. And then so the website and social media we handle. Influencers, that's way outside my, you know, you guys are much better on that. Like I follow some of them, but like I wouldn't know who to bring, but happy to like talk about that. We don't keep any kind of email content like the town would. I think they're better contact for that. And then in terms of the website, we do have events on there and we'd be happy to put them. We have, I don't know if we've fallen off, but you can always, the reason why CMX is the only one featured is they're the only ones that send us stuff. So we are desperate for content, obviously, and you guys do it wonderfully, but it never filters back to us. So we need to have a meeting to discuss how that happens because there's no reason that that shouldn't happen. I mean, we have the means to share your content and do all those things. And I don't know how that communication broke down, but obviously it did because you guys didn't know that there was a means for that. But there's a website with events and there's social media content that we're desperate for because like them, we don't have the manpower to go out and create content. Like, you know, I've got an iPhone and I'm not very good at it. So I think there's room to have there and we can have that follow meeting. When it comes to the renovation was always meant to be in two phases, the street and the parking. We hired an architect right around the time that we were talking to you, and we had very original renderings. They have not met our expectations. It's a big, expensive project, and we've cut them loose. So we're in the process right now of negotiating a new team to do the renovation. Because while I understand not doing the renovation impacts your business and Main Street needs the renovation, nobody here on our team is going to argue that we would like to renovate Main Street. The renovation process is going to be extremely disruptive for all the tenants on Main Street. And I do not want to start tearing up the street or start a renovation when we don't have a really good team and a plan in place to do it in a way that allows you guys all to continue to operate and succeed. That would be my biggest nightmare and I think would be really neglectful. So the parking lots are gonna be first instead of the street. I wanted the street first because that's the more exciting thing than the parking lot, but the parking lot's easier to design. So the parking lots are in the permitting phase right now. and theirs should be starting in the next month or two. What you will get with that is you'll get lights, you know, the parking lots are gonna be lit up. Not like a football field, but you know, that will bring a lot of light to the back of the house. I would like to say that we could get to the street renovation next year. I don't think that's realistic. Our plan, and I wanna be realistic with you, I don't want to BS you, I leave that to Philip to be a sales guy. Again, I'm the more realistic one, so, we do not want, our hope is to limit the project to a 10 to 11 month timeframe. Because I don't want the street torn up over the holidays. I feel like that's a prime time for all of your businesses and so we want to get through Christmas, start January, like hit the road running and hopefully be able to complete the renovation in 10 to 11 months. So by Thanksgiving, the street is not under construction. And with the timeline of how long it takes to plan, design, permit, you guys know what that's like. You built out restaurants, it's extensive. I don't see a window where that happens next year. But please know that there was no intention to mislead you when we said we were renovating the street. We are, and we're disappointed that it hasn't happened as well. We tried to be patient with who we were working with, but they just didn't have the capacity and couldn't follow through the project. And my biggest nightmare was to get the street halfway torn up and then not have what we needed to finish it and it be even more disruptive to business. So that's the answer on the renovation. Does anybody have any more questions on the renovation? Okay, the barricades. So last year, like mid last year, we started having a pretty excessive amount of security events on the street. Fights, people injured, rocks thrown at people's heads, mobs of people that were threatening guests. We had tenants coming and complaining to us that people did not feel safe, their employees didn't feel safe. That's a big problem to me. Safety is my number one priority. When we talk about these events, all I think about is safety. And so when that happened, we reached out to the town police and said, we need your help. You know, we have third-party security, but this is outside our realm. We need the town's cooperation in helping to make sure the town center is safe, because if it's not safe, if there's one event in the news that somebody shot or killed or hurt on Main Street, that's worse than all the positive PR that we can put out there, in my opinion, because it only takes one.
Sounds like a beach.
So we got together with the police and we asked them, what do you do? Do you hire more security? Do you hire police? What do you do? The town doesn't police Main Street. The town will only police the surrounding areas. So in order to have the police and security on Main Street, we have to pay for it. You guys all saw the impact of that on your camera. So we had to weigh hiring more police officers with barricades. And at the end of the day, the police and security, in consultation with our team, decided that the best way to ensure the security of Main Street in the most cost-effective manner for you all was to barricade some of the entrances and provide entrance points, which you know are on Main Street and at the theater courtyard, and block off the entrances on the back parking lot, because that only requires 6 people. Hiring the off-duty police is very expensive. I pulled the financials because in case it came up, I wanted to be able to speak to it, but the increase was substantial in security. And so we ordered some barricade covers to try to make them more presentable. But at the end of the day, I welcome your input. I don't like the barricades either. We don't like the barricades, but at the same time, I really want Main Street to be safe. And so
For how long it's gonna be that? Because it's been now.
no, we asked the police and security regularly. Can I remove them? Can I get rid of them? We rented them at first because I didn't want to buy them because I didn't want it to be permanent. And they are insistent that without increased manpower, the barricades are the best.
They get
So-
it paid, they get it paid, they're gonna,
No,
from the police, they're gonna be there forever, they're getting paid and it does their job, but, you know.
no, it's,
From the business
What is the
perspective on Main Street, that's killing.
What does the barricade do exactly?
So basically,
I seen it, but.
yeah, so
What
it's
is their
it's a
answer?
checkpoint, so each entrance to Main Street is manned by a police officer and security guard. So they can ensure that like kids aren't coming in, because the kids were in huge groups running around basically scaring people away and scaring families away. And we had people saying like, I'm not bringing my kids here because the kids are running around, it's scary. We've come at night, we walk the street, try to determine what to do. I don't know, with the renovation of Main Street, our hope is to try to create more beautiful obstructions to the entrances so that we're not using barricades, coming up with a beautiful gate or a beautiful something, but still trying to like restrict the entrance points to the street. Because the police, you know, like I said, it's not, I think Main Street is a little bit unique in that the street is private. It allows us to do nice things on the street, but because it's a private street, the police don't police it. And so we have to pay the police to come to Main Street. So when you see police on Main Street, you pay for that in your CAM, and it's part of like the security that we're providing. It's not the town of Miami Lakes providing police coverage for the town. The police have been wonderful in advising us on how to handle this and make sure the street is safe and providing support on the perimeters. And so there was a whole plan, and, you know, we can revisit that. But pretty much monthly, we have every other week we have a security call, and there's always a discussion about like, can we change the protocol? So I'd be happy to have a meeting, again, an offline meeting with all of you guys. And if you all want to get rid of the barricades, we can discuss it. But I'll also say at the end of the day, if somebody gets hurt, it's likely the grant companies that are gonna get nailed and sued for not providing a safe, secure environment. That's already happened to us, where instances that I think are really out of our control happened, and we were sued for lack of proper security. So it's it's hard.
It's a catch-22, and I was
It's really hard.
And I was gonna say, like, I mean, I'm just an outsider looking in. What I do on a regular basis, I'm a business consultant. I'm not like, a specialist in government or whatnot. But because, the barricades impede business, and I agree with you. I was not even moving my head up and down the whole time you were speaking, because I agree. I think they're it doesn't make Main Street welcoming or appealing. But trust me, I understand liability and compliance, so I understand where you're coming from, that it's a matter of security, and you're absolutely right. It just takes one instance, and I wasn't a resident of the town when Main Street was, struggling with those issues, but it brings me back, and I'm showing my age here, it makes me think of Sunset Place. And I don't know if you guys recall, but what happened with Sunset Place? Sunset Place became a ghost town. Why? Because business wasn't thriving. When business wasn't thriving, it is a small-ish, right? This Main Street is even smaller than Sunset Place, but it is a private enclosed space that is empty and that is luring and calling for, disruptive, whatever it is, teenagers, preteens, young adults to congregate. And just wreak havoc, right? And that's what happens. Main Street is empty. Main Street is still relatively safe because it is a small, private, enclosed environment. So teenagers and young adults flock there up to no good. Why is it, if you ask yourself, why is it that doesn't happen at City Place, downtown Doral, Coral Gables, The Grove? Why? Because there's a lot of activity happening in the area. So they're not gonna show up and disrupt when it's full of people, because they'll be caught, right? So it really is a catch-22. How do you get rid of the disruption? You have to create events and bring people and fill it, so that they're not emboldened to go out there and wreak havoc because it's empty. How do you fill it? You have to create events and spend money in marketing, which we've all discussed. There's no magical funds for that to happen, and there's no one person designated to make it happen. So it has to be a cohesive event. So I think if we get anything out of this meeting, which I know was the goal of the Economic Development Committee when Carlos brought this to our attention, and we made this a goal to bring you guys together. I think if anything, and Laura, stop saying that you're not important, because I think everything that you just said today was so valuable. I think you provided so
Deal with
much
the serious
insight.
stuff, Philip.
Yeah,
does the fun
but I think you
Yeah.
provided really valuable insight into understanding why certain things haven't happened, because the money is being used, and I think it's, you know, it's being used for things that everyone here knows, likes. I don't think anybody would want to get rid of Festival of Lights, but I think it provided a lot of clarity into just how expensive certain things are, right? So when we're thinking about wanting to create additional events, you know, we're not talking about $5,000, we're talking about like, you know, 50, 60, 70, $80,000 just to put on one event, right?
That's not just the event, that's the lights.
Everything,
And the
yeah.
decorations and
Yeah.
all that, and that's the
Yeah.
sense. One other thing I wanted to talk about is Cars for the Cure is not our event. That is a charity that has come to us and said, can I use Main Street for my event? If you provide us a hold harmless and insurance, and we feel like the event is beneficial to you all, we are more than likely to say yes. So it doesn't have to be us putting it on, it can often be partners.
Right.
So when the farmer's market came back after COVID,
Yeah.
we asked for it to be at Main Street, because it used to be at the park. A lot of people got mad. Why'd they get mad? Because when the farmer's market moved to Main Street, we did not allow them to have any food trucks that competed with your business. There's no taco truck. There's no, there's no ice cream truck. If you look, all of the vendors at farmer's market are designed to not compete with your businesses, because it's important to us when events come to Main Street that they don't compete with the tents that they're there. We told them, you cannot bring temporary people that roll in from somewhere else and compete with the people that have invested on the street. It's not fair, it's not right, but it's a balance, right? Having these events that support your businesses, but that don't conflict with them, that's important to us. And Cars for the Cure, we really like the cause and we like the event. This year it was really big and it was borderline getting too big for Main Street. So that's the other thing, is we just have to make sure that even though we can provide a safe environment, I guess there was an incident where it got very tight and almost like a security issue. And then the farmer's market, Diego, right? Yeah, so Diego, who does the farmer's market, he's great. If you guys haven't met him, he, loves events and all these things. And we have asked him, what events can you bring to Main Street? He did an art show in April.
Yeah.
And so he does those at no cost, right? Because he charges the people that are coming to the art show or whatever. And so that's been another thing that we've done to try to bring events to Main Street. It was thrown together more quickly, kind of just like a starter thing, just to see how it went. And I think, just to provide another avenue of somebody who's willing to bring events and ideas. He had a bunch of ideas. He had a presentation. Yes. What was the Miami Lakes one? Like he had a Miami Lakes themed like street fair thing.
I love Miami Lakes.
And I love Miami Lakes Fair on the street. And then the only other thing I wanted to mention, just in response, is that Andrea, who sits on the EDC, she's not here tonight, but she provides a lot of perspective as well. And she indicated that there used to be more town events on Main Street, and there was a push to move town events to town property. I get it, right? You use your property that you're maintaining and all those things. And it's a balance, like the 4th of July event, like we could not host that, it's way too big. A lot of those events that they host at the parks, that's the right place. What we do is we provide all our parking lots for free for them to use, but we try not to say no when there's when the town comes to us, whether it be for money or for hosting or events. And so if there are committees that, want to do something like that, as long as we feel like it's beneficial to your businesses and isn't going to conflict with it, we try to say yes, as long as we can mitigate the risk concerns of being sued and having proper insurance. So I just wanted to mention that, which you guys, some of you that have special events, especially Chellers, the process. We require hold harmless and insurance, but once we get over the hump, I think, and get on the same page, it's, pretty quick to move through it. So I don't know if you have anything else? I know I tried to address everything you guys asked about.
I have a couple of things.
Yes.
One thing is that based on what you have mentioned and stuff like that, and as of businesses, the live event does not bring more revenue to the business, like those Halloween, like those the Cars for Cure, like it does, what other event we do see increase in ourselves that we put more staff. We never, like, when, on our 3 years already, we never have put more employees to work on the light events. Just to give you a perspective, and that's something that we should probably discuss internally and try to figure it out. What really those 87,000 bring. It does bring people from that town that they do like it and that they see it and they do complain that there is not that light, but it's not actually helping the business.
A lot of that cost goes to the holiday decorations. I don't know, I love Christmas, I love the holidays, I think. Around the holidays, you have to have holiday decorations on Main Street,
Was that
otherwise,
rented every year?
some of it's bought, some of it's rented, but it's the installation cost, we're rebidding it this year. So we'll, you know, and then my hope is to bring, we've used the same vendor for a long time. I think we've outgrown them, or.
Yeah.
They told us we outgrew them, so, we're rebidding that, and, if you guys have vendors you've used at other places, let us know. Or if you have like decoration people that, because Sarah's in the process of putting it together, putting it out right now. So maybe, my goal is to find ways to bring that number down.
Yeah.
And, you know, by maybe doing a fewer larger decorations and simplifying some of the smaller things that are manpower intensive so that we can hopefully get more bang for the buck. And yeah, so.
Regarding parking, is there like a better place to park during the weekends that you can direct people to sign in?
I think it's part of working on the strategy, I think there are the details on it, right?
If you guys love it, it's closed, well, here's a sign, Main Street parking or something.
At
Help
the
people
end,
make it easier for them to.
at the end, we should do a committee, let's call it one that could communicate the city, what we wanted to do and stuff like that, and from the Grahams, from ourselves, and try to see how can we put together a plan and try to do more, so our budget are more efficient, right? So they work and stuff like that. Couple of things that what you have mentioned, right? One of the things we heard about the merchant group, we wanted to understand what a merchant group is. We don't know if it is a different entity, what is it?
It's nothing right now.
Okay, what it used to be or something.
I mean, it used to be we would have like an annual meeting to go through all this, and then I think Andrea told me, I asked her, when was the last time we had a meeting? She said it was 2018. We may have had it in 2019. But I think the only people that came were the ones that we begged to come that were our friends. Like Gary Snow, who's friends with Ann, so we would have to beg people to come to that meeting. And we gave up. You know, and I think it's almost in the same way that, you know, I don't know. So I think we can reinvigorate and redefine what that is. I don't know how we can actually do this, but I also was thinking about abolishing the marketing fund after the renovation. And revisiting how we approach marketing. Because in all honesty, I was talking to my mom about it, because obviously she was here when Main Street was built and it was established, and trying to provide some history. And I think the reason the marketing fund was established was back in 1994 or whatever, 1990, whatever, mid-90s, if you wanted to do marketing for your small mom and pop business, it was really expensive. There was no Instagram, there was no social media. You had to put something in a major publication, you had to go to a billboard, and those were cost prohibitive for our merchants. And so the fund was intended to help the merchants be able to do the kind of marketing that we don't really do anymore. And you can do so much more on social media for so much less. Which is proof, because you guys all do a wonderful job with your social. And so we can revisit that. I'd be happy to have a meeting about that. I don't even know how legally we do that, because it's written in all your leases. There's no real mechanism in the lease to change that. So I guess we'd have to get everybody to agree to amend their leases or do something. But I am open to just throwing a bomb on the whole thing, because again, I'll say it again, you know, we're not a marketing firm, and to rely on us to handle like this plan is not a good idea.
Just food for thought, the first thing that comes in my brain is, you have this marketing budget, And, just example, let's say whatever Festival of Lights changes or something like that, but there's some kind of reallocation like you're mentioning. I mean, if you take 2/3 of that cost, you could assign an events chair, like a Graham Main Street events person. You could hire someone for $50,000-$60,000 a year, and their sole responsibility would be to be the person like Downtown Doral has, that's all they do. Because that's the thing is, and I live this myself as a small business owner. Everybody says, oh, I'm not gonna pay, for somebody to manage my social media because I can do that myself, and people don't realize what an overwhelming full-time endeavor it is to do it well and to do it right and to be everywhere and film everything and edit everything and post everything. It really requires someone full-time. And I agree with you. I think it's a super effective marketing strategy, but no hate on who did you say was doing it? Cosmo Marketing, but the Main Street Instagram has like 500 followers, like really fast, So I think that's something that can be reevaluated, but just, throwing out their ideas, especially if you're open to that. I think the marketing budget still makes sense because something needs to be done. You can't just throw a bomb on it and say, we're not gonna do anything. And again, if we go back to returning that money to the merchants and then everybody does its own thing, then it still is discharged, right? The whole point is, I think we're all agreeing that there needs to be a unified front, but it costs money, right? And it requires organization.
And when I say throw a bomb on it, I mean either the Festival of Lights goes into the CAM budget.
Correct,
Right,
yeah.
that's the one option, right, and it just becomes, a bucket.
Mhm.
And the marketing fund gets used for something else, or we change the amount of the marketing fund to accommodate what you guys want.
Mhm.
But we would need a significant participation, which we do have having the theater and you guys all here is a very good participation, probably the best we've had in a long time. So that's why I said I'm so excited to have you guys all here and have your input, and have your ideas, because you have wonderful ideas. But we would need to, get everybody on board, but I think we could get there, and so I think a follow-up meeting, we can talk
I
about.
think if there is a plan and if there is contribution from everybody, like every company has their not just what they charge, but they also their marketing budget, right? So if we do put your marketing budget for your company, plus what we already contribute, plus what we can get from each committee, we're talking about, in my calculations from the numbers that we're talking about probably $130,000 that this room may have right now. Okay, that we are just not using it correctly. Okay, that it could be used for different things. So that's one of the things. I really appreciated that you guys are here. Main reason because we have it here on the agenda, and I wanted to kind of tell what everybody's seeing, okay? And what everybody is also complaining a little bit. I think the brand that you guys have, which is exists on Brickell City Center, which is a great place, everybody goes. Your facilities are fantastic. These ones that you guys rebuild out, and I know that it's spent a lot of money, but unfortunately, management and what the expectation of you going to the city are not good. And I think it's affecting the type of clientele that we bring. Every time, and then I have talked with the majority here, right, on our meetings and everything, that they may have tried that movie TV once or twice, but everything is so daily, so, that you don't want to come back. So the customers that you want, customers that they do come to the same movie all the time and they bring the money to it, they're not coming back, unfortunately. And we have a great brand. And a lot of people, before everybody knew that there was a movie theater, now when I talk to people from Weston, from Doral, from everything, oh, you guys have a movie theater. So there is not marketing involved, and you guys are kind of the anchor of the whole thing. So I don't, we get pushed a lot by the Grahams in our case, for maintenance, for everything, for all of those things. And I do see Coldplay, for example, they need an update also. Their teams are destroyed. There's also bringing the people. So we don't change. It's not just changing the face of the Main Street. It's also pushing all the vendors to do the different standards. Maybe put the prices higher. We all need to put maybe the prices higher. And I know the Miami Lakers don't like that, and is our main customer, but it may bring a different type of crowd to the city, and we don't have to have barricades and security issues and all of those things.
No, they have police and security, but people still breaking windows in the parking lot behind like mine. mean, the securities are talking or drinking Coca-Cola, or they're just hanging out by the car, by the police car, but in the parking lot, there's nobody there. So what we need, instead of barricade of police cars, are more security people and police going around everywhere. Because you know, how many times have you heard people, like, breaking windows in the parking lot and stealing whatever they have inside?
And I know how expensive
Nobody
it is.
see
I know
that.
it's
Incredibly
okay.
expensive.
Nobody see that at all.
The lighting will help the parking lots a lot, because they're dark right now, the trees that we love, they, are covering all the lights, and so the lighting upgrades do help a lot with security, that's like the first thing, and that's coming soon. The security comes down to cost, and I'm happy to have more discussions with you guys and
We
weigh
have a
that.
company that it has result to us very effective and very good price.
Yeah, cops are very expensive.
Yes,
Very.
and just not just that, this is a private company and it's been very effective.
You actually like your employees. When you hire cops, they don't act like your employees.
And
They
We-
do whatever.
I will say that the town has been really wonderful with us.
Yeah, no, I'm not saying otherwise.
Well, and picking specific officers to come consistently to the street and trying to pick ones, because you're right, it's a Miami-Dade
Yeah,
County,
we
so
hired
it could be
so many
anybody,
cops.
but
Yeah. and-
they have been really wonderful in helping us bring ones that are, I don't know how to.
I see them every night.
Yeah.
I can tell you.
You know, let the theater respond real quick.
Yes.
I have a.
Sorry. Second, real quick. I wanna give them a
Let me
chance to
just
respond.
say something. Hello, everybody. Thank you for the opportunity. My name is Isaí Oliveira. I'm Regional Operations Director with CMX Cinemas. I appreciate the feedback and thank you for letting me know about that. We run movie theaters at different other locations. One of the locations that I run is also the Doral City Place, which it was mentioned in the great presentation that you have for marketing. I can tell you recently, I don't know if you guys remember this, but there was a shooting, Doral City Place.
Yes.
Right?
Not too much.
And we're talking about how good Doral City Place is over and then everybody's going over there and all this. And we get it. I mean, I don't think assumption of just who's coming to the movie theater is what is damaging the image of the company that we're running. I think it has to do a lot with what we're doing as it's been said in this meeting. I mean, marketing, everybody's calling from marketing. From what I'm getting in the meeting right now, that's hurting us a lot. I mean, it's not just the movie theater, assuming the movie theaters is the only thing hurting us. That's, I think it's too strong to say it at once. And again, I don't feel as you guys accusing the movie theater.
no, I'm not.
I mean, I don't think you guys accusing the movie theater. But at the same time, I don't think that's the right path that we need to take as assuming this is what is creating the problem in Main Street. I think we need to go and that's why we're here today. I mean, we wanted to be part of the solution, not part of the problem, right? But again, I mean, let's take, for instance, the shooting that happened at Doral City Place, how they came back from this. Marketing. And you go over there right now, and you're gonna see 7 cars of police officers outside. Everybody full with guns and cover with bulletproof. How does people feel about that? You don't see that happening here. And people still go. So, just food for thought. We need to understand yes, we need to do better, and I want us to do better at the movie theater. And we're gonna be able to open whatever we're doing. If we need to change what we're doing, we will. But again, I mean, I think there's different solution that we need to find in place in order to bring the right solution to this.
And the only way to do so is working all of us together.
Of course.
For what I see, what I have talked, everybody wants to, but everybody does their own and not together. I know, and I don't want to say details, but I understand liability. Our business they want to sue everybody, and everybody is willing to do whatever to help to be able to do it, and it limits us, right? Because it spares us, right? We don't want it to do now much events. Now we have to limit it that keeps playing because they fail and stuff like that. A bunch of things. At the same time, we cannot live with fear, and we are not gonna be able to make anything better if we continue holding back. And I think that's what we need to do. Just push forward, do everything, invest what we gotta invest. If we don't invest, we're not gonna bring more people. We have seen on our marketing investment, let's push this event, let's push that. If I don't invest on that event or something did not went organized as and planned it as we wanted it, is an unsuccessful event. So it's just matter of, I think, be more aggressive and all of us work together. And I think we all want it. I think we all want the thing.
One thing you touched on, I wanted to just mention, whether it be the theater, or whether it be Coldstone, or whether it be Cellas.
Exactly,
or
that
social
could be all
I'm
of
just
it.
saying, we can tell you, you can't put that sign in the window. We can tell you, you can't let the sidewalk be dirty out front. But if the inside of Cellas is absolutely disgusting, there's really not a whole lot that I can do as landlord. If you let it run down and people don't want to go there because the food's cold and the furniture's like wobbly and uncomfortable and your bartenders are not very friendly, all the things that are not. As landlord, there's very little that I can do. And so I just wanted to point that out because I think a lot of times people say, well, the Grahams need to make them do this. The Grahams need to make them do that. We do not have the power to do that. You know, I do not talk about what kind of fitness program or what kind of tacos or what kind of cookies you guys serve. It's just not our role. And we don't, I mean, other than negotiating a TI improvement as part of a renewal, there's so little that, you know, we can really do when operations go south, other than wait till the term is up and then not renew. And so I just wanted to point that out because, you know, I think that is critical. And that's why you guys are all in this room, because there were businesses before you that either failed or we decided we didn't want anymore. And so, you know, we do our very best to pick people that we think are wonderful operators and are here to succeed, you know, and have that special sauce, right? And so, you know, just wanted to mention that about kind of the interiors. There's
I think those are all very excellent topics and I think this is a breakthrough, right, what we've done today. This is the first meeting of many meetings to come. But definitely, Laura, I think from the merchant standpoint, we'll love to take you up on your offer and have a follow-up meeting with you, with the grant companies and from the merchant standpoint and talk about specifics about curfew, security. I agree with Julio and that, you know, there are some inconsistencies there that drive people away, which is the reason why we started closing earlier on the weekends because of that very same reason. So I agree with you, Julio. It is challenging. And there are other things, you know, that we can talk about, the farmers market, you know, some of the competing businesses that we can talk about that as well. But I think the main goal of the meeting, and Carlos, we may want to, from a merchant standpoint, put together a plan and a timeline to meet with you and present some specific ideas on our thoughts on perhaps reallocate the budget, the marketing budget. I don't think it should be blown up. It is necessary. I think half of the job is already done. All of these great businesses are already here, right? Great top-notch restaurants that people can come. You have a lot to market. Now it's a matter of who you market it to, which with the locals, you know, we can only take us so far. Obviously, we love Miami Lakers, but we need a little bit more to stay in business. And I think not only from the town standpoint, Graham and the merchants, we will all benefit from a more mutual success. So I think we're on the same page. I was very delighted to hear what Ms. Felicia there had to say about the Cultural Affairs Committee. I think I'd like to learn more about that, and I think it's fantastic. I do recall some customers that came from that art walk. It wasn't the best promoted event. I didn't know about it up until customers started coming. It seems like it was canceled first and then it was rescheduled and I didn't know about it in the first place. So they were asking me and I didn't really know. But it was a good initiative. I think we can do a lot of that. Those fundraising events that may be free for us, but you know, help a good cause and also attract business to the town and to Main Street. So I think we need to stay organized. I think we've explored the vision today, but now it's a matter of following up with some of the things that we have to do as merchants, bring ideas to you guys so we can work together towards those, as well as the Cultural Affairs Committee and the EDC. I think there's a lot of work to be done still. We just need to stay organized and like you said, Carlos, maybe assigning a point person to get there. Because otherwise we're gonna get,
Because it's a
Um,
bunch of things, right?
yeah.
And when I was doing the research of everything is because neither the city, neither the Grahams have the main power to be able to do all those things, which, you know, we get it. But how we put it together, like is the, put it in, do we need to do a job? Do we bring all the resources and context that we have already for bands and renting and security, you know, a bunch of things that we can work together to figure it out. Because I don't know how many years, but but I remember that when I got to live here 19 years ago, to Main Street, everybody was still talking about Main Street. Everybody was like, oh, Main Street, yeah, I know Main Street. Main Street." Now, not anymore. But 19 years ago, everybody talked about Main Street. Everybody knew about Main Street. Everybody, all of that. So I'm certain that we can just be right back. You know? So can we set a meeting date to do follow up on it and see who wants to join and we can go together to everything that we can do, you know? I'm certain the movie theater have things that they have affected them, like the corporate and stuff like that, that they want to figure out how to get better. And I know you wanted to.
Let me see. No, actually, the movie theater, unfortunately, that lady passed away, but she used to work with Channel 10 and the Children's Museum, and we used to have a children's film fest. And we had a red carpet, it was a major event. So it takes time on people who really want to commit themselves to do it. I've been in this community, like I said, for many years, and I love doing it. It's just that we need committed people and we need committed merchants and we need people to really want to bring all this back because, I mean, I have been in Miami-Dade since 1988 and when, you know, basically, I would say I grew up here. Because I used to come here all the time and I used to live in the city. But, yeah, we need to work together, so.
So in terms of a future meeting date, the EDC is happy to continue to facilitate the meeting space. Obviously, if we facilitate it and we keep using this room, then it's a town meeting, so we need to give X amount of weeks notice, blah, blah, blah. We don't have to keep doing it here. You guys can, because really it sounds like, at least from what I've taken away from this meeting, it really sounds like it's the Grahams, the Graham companies and the Main Street merchants deciding how you guys want to move forward, what you guys want to do, and if town involvement is needed, you tap the town for whatever you need. But realistically, it doesn't sound like, you know, that the town is really the major player here. It seems like it's mostly you guys, which are two private groups. So if you guys would like to coordinate a future meeting, I mean, I think a marker of success of this meeting is for you guys to have a set meeting date that we're gonna be meeting with. If we want to continue to do it in this format, we're happy to continue to host it. That, you know, that's the purpose that I think all the members of the Economic Development Committee are feeling like really happy today, because I think we managed to facilitate a much needed conversation that ultimately is gonna benefit town merchants, and we really wanted that to happen. So however you guys, you know, feel that it works best, and you know, and we did it today after business hours. If you want to continue to do it after business hours, if we want to move it to business hours so that this is part of your working day, I mean, this is your meeting.
If I may, I very quickly, do you know how maybe like rare or maybe not rare your position, like, is that across Main Street? Like, do a lot of restaurants have?
I'm really not sure.
Yeah, that's probably an unfair question,
What's the
but
question?
Like, how many other meetings are there in Main Street?
Who do you represent in this room?
Marketing.
television, like marketing,
Marketing person.
point persons, you know,
I think Corner 67 probably has some.
I think it.
Yeah,
Otherwise, they have somebody very creative on their staff.
Yeah.
Do you have somebody?
We use our own
Yeah.
staff.
You use your
Yeah.
staff?
Second, I can play a little bit into like the naive point of view because I've lived with the town less than 3 years and I think a lot of the discussions, and I've said it in the meetings before, I've said it a lot. I think a lot of these discussions to me teeter into like a town or a municipal master plan. What do our buildings look like in the future? How our planters are looking, how our roads are feeling, what events do we want to see in town? That's probably a more appropriate discussion to have. I think these are all really good conversations, but I don't think the town needs to step away from, because I mean, this is like, what does everyone, residents, what do we want people to come in to see, be excited for? I think it's all good. I think, and I hope you guys can have a little bit of empathy with the fact that municipal communications can sometimes be very boring. You can imagine our events compete with park programming, competes with ribbon cuttings, competes with road repair. Like, these are things that we need to market. I would love to have the time to highlight specific. I mean, there's a lot of business in town. You know, I think everyone has to come together. I mean, I'm beating a dead horse, and I don't want to, but I think a good step one, at least, and that's something that Isle and I have been discussing, is, you know, what town events
We wanted to.
that already exist can go to Main Street realistically. And speaking of the art show, like that's something that was put on in front of us by Diego, who is again a very, you know, he's very eager. That's probably the fairest word to use. That was put to us maybe a week and a half before, which you guys can imagine, it does not get
No,
good events. Need at least,
at least.
no, not, I'm talking about like 6. If I brought up the idea of municipal,
Advertising, I was saying advertising, at least a month.
but like logistics, giving us time to prepare, you know, graphics and runs of press. You're talking months. If that magazine that I you know, I want that magazine to fall into our lap, you know, where we can mail out to every single person that lives here. And I know we want to extend out uptown boundaries, but it's little things like that where we want at least 6 months ahead of time. So what do we have now? I'm thinking, you know, harkening back to years of past, like concerts or live performances. That's like very good ways to do it, but that doesn't exist in a vacuum. That does dip into discussions of like road closures and parking availability and the perception of safety and all these conversations that I think have been.
Can I ask a question? So what is the role of the economic development? Can I answer that?
Under chair.
Try my best. Our role is to help facilitate things like this, at least from what I understand, our mission statement, to help facilitate discussion between the small businesses and help bring business to the small businesses and help bring outside businesses here, you know?
So the Economic Development Committee is a volunteer committee comprised of either town residents or town business people. So before I was a resident, I exclusively did business with the town of Miami Lakes, not the town, but the small businesses in the town, even though I lived in the city of Doral. Now I live in the town of Miami Lakes. So our mission statement is to help foster an environment of business growth, which is a very abstract mission statement, but it's pretty much anything that we can do to help contribute to business development in the town of Miami Lakes. You know, we take under our wing. It's self-directed, so the members of the committee, which we have maybe about a third of the committee here today, this wasn't an official committee meeting today. We all have either an interest in business, our business owners, Carlos is one of our committee members, or do business with a lot of people in the town of Miami Lakes. So I'll give you an example. This was something that Carlos brought to the committee that he wanted to see through. And together as a committee, we pulled in, it took us about 3 months to identify who all the players were that we needed to get in the room to have a conversation. So that was, you know, one thing that we did. We started last year putting on together an event, which is happening in September 20th of this year, guys. Our business boot camp, which is now our 2nd annual business boot camp that, you know, we market and we bring people out of the town of Miami Lakes into the town of Miami Lakes. We have a happy hour at one of the local restaurants and we talk about business, right? We are the ones that pulled together the Miami Lakes Chamber of Commerce, the Miami Lakes Business Networking International Group, and the Economic Development Committee, and we have a quarterly happy hour, and we rotate it around, you know, a different place in town. I think almost everybody, except maybe La Cumbancha, we hosted it no, we already hosted one at La Cumbancha before. We hosted there. The ribbon cuttings are through the Economic Development Committee. It's a mishmash of all kinds of different efforts that we do to, again, foster an environment, a business-rich environment, right, for the town merchants.
Here's the mission statement. This, the Economic Development Committee serves to foster a prosperous business climate for the benefit of the town's residents and business owners by promoting local business interchange, implementing strategic initiatives to stimulate the town economy, and recruiting new businesses into the town. So that covers the whole gap.
Another fun project, for example, they tapped us to write the letter to bring like high-end grocery stores to the town.
We wanted Whole Foods Market.
Right, so, so when it came to getting that letter out, they were like, oh, you guys should do this, I'm like, okay. So, those are all the things that run through here,
That's one of the big questions.
Again, some directives to the Economic Development Committee come from above, from the mayor down. Some are just grassroots effort that that committee members want to, put together.
Okay, thank you.
Absolutely. So going back to the original purpose of, what are we gonna do after today? I think it's clear that, a continuation of what happened today needs to happen. I've always been of the mind that if a date's not on the calendar, it's never gonna happen. We have the key players here today. So, I mean, just to get the conversation going, if we were to do something maybe a month from today, to come together, I know the merchants want to get together tomorrow, realistically, I don't know if the grant companies can accommodate that. But you guys tell us.
Andrea's not here. She's a key player in selecting a date because I think, she's on the EDC and she also manages Cosmo and social media and so I think having a meeting without her would be wasteful. What I can promise is that we'll email everybody in this room by the end of the week with some dates and times. I think our preference is to have it during business hours I don't know, what works best for y'all's schedule, if like afternoon, I think typically afternoon works better for you guys, but you let us know.
Right.
I would think before 11 a.m. because most of you guys don't open until, 11 a.m. or so, yeah.
Okay, so morning, okay, so we'll let us coordinate our schedules and we'll reach out to, Harry and CMX and everybody that's here.
Just so they can have some guide rails, guys, if they did like a 9 a.m. to 10 a.m., 9 a.m. to 10:30, would that be okay for the majority of you? Yes? So I think if maybe you guys take a look at your office calendar and you look at, what's maybe like 3 different date options within the next 3 weeks or so, that would be around 9, ish.
Yeah.
I think that would probably make things, something that I don't have from you guys, I know they have it because you're on their tenant list, but if you guys wanna come back and put in your emails here. And what I can do is I can make sure, that this group stays together on communication, okay? Yeah. Cool.
And we'll try to put together an agenda to send out so that you guys can tell us if there's other things that you want to talk about.
Yeah. Would you guys wanna use this space again, or would you
We
wanna
can
do
use
it?
our
You can
office.
use your office, okay, perfect,
Yeah.
okay, great. Yeah, Felicia.
I'd like to throw an idea. I know that association is no longer, which not exist anymore, but the civic association. And long time is here, and I think I'm the only one here. They used to have a membership for the members to, to fund their projects, and they used to do a veterans parade and a lot of other events that the communities have taken it on. But they used to have the members for the residents and the members for the businesses. So if you were a member of that group, you could go to a business that was a member too, and you could get discounts. So that was a way of helping the businesses too. So think about that. I mean, I know the town, after the civic association disbanded, the town tried to do it, but it was a limited thing and it was not very successful. So I think it's something that maybe the Grahams can take it on or another business or whatever, just the membership that people benefit from. And something, think about it, it's just, it used to happen and it was, people loved it. People who love to Main Street to do, what is it, Snow?
Snows jeweler.
To get, discounts on, for Valentine's Day or Christmas or whatever. People did become members to get the discounts. So that was good, and I missed the money, so that was the good.
I think we have a very good tenant mix, and I think that it can increase, like, we have an Amazonia, really good place, the decor, beautiful in the place, we have sushi, unlimited sushi on Mondays, right? Right? Few people know about, it, right? We noticed, we understand it on a meeting, right? We have La Cumbacha, we have very good places now that we can, bring the corner, all of it. So I think it's a great time to bring people to the town.
Speaking of all that, and I saw it in the list of the items that we have. And I think that's needed as we grow, and I've seen it in many of the other towns and so forth. We need some type of visitor center, we need some type of place where everybody can at least, like a central place. It used to be, I think, in Shula's, in the old hotel, in their lobby area, they had all the flyers and brochures and newsstand, and they had everything there, all the discounts of all the different businesses in the area, and they had it right in the lobby, right outside. And I don't know, we need something like that too. And it brings a lot of cohesion, brings a lot of centralization of everything for all the vendors that people know. Maybe it's a directory of all the businesses, where are they? We need some central type of, maybe that's what the Grahams, I think, as it is in Main Street. But, maybe it's here, or maybe it's here, or maybe it's here, or maybe it's in Town Hall. I don't know.
Nowadays, digital works more.
Well, for example, if you guys haven't gone to the Main Street website, on the Main Street website, I'm sure you guys will, so it's mainstreetmiamilakes.com. I think that would probably be a good place for, for the conversation to start.
Yeah.
But I think this is good. You
There's
guys
what you're
have,
saying, maybe like a QR code in the design district, they have a bunch of screens.
Oh, yeah, that's right. That's right.
And people can see all the
Yeah.
map.
And let's advertise it one fish. Like,
Yeah.
we have
I
that
see what
one.
you're saying, instead of three.
This one.
instead of- yeah.
That's what we have. I mean, we
Exactly.
have to have a company website,
Right,
right? That's
Yeah,
separate
no,
from
no,
each
no.
other. So we have that.
Like, with the town and everything. So let's talk to the town and everything. Let's advertise this for all the Main Street events and stuff like that. So people go to one site.
Can I ask one question before we leave? Sorry. The photo ops, like the umbrellas. Again, I'm not creative. I don't know. How do those come to be? Does anybody in this? room-
It's-
Huh?
No, it's part, I think of the strategy, right? For example, we were thinking about.
But is that a
why-
vendor? You just call and they
It's an
come and do it?
artist.
It's
an artist, so for example, City of Coral Gables is probably the best people for this. City of Coral Gables has a coordinated, strategy to bring art installations to their city. So it's not just the umbrellas, those are but you guys remember the pink snails? So there were pink snails all over the City of Coral Gables. Most recently, there was that huge 3D moon, right? So those are all City of Coral Gables finding the artist and, how they find the artist, God knows, but they find the artist and they book the artist to install in the town for X amount of time.
I was
we
just
had
wondering if that
people-
was another, while we're here and we have the town, I'm saying,
Right.
how can the town, because there's a lot of things we can discuss,
We
but
have,
I
here-
love,
we have the Miami Lakes cows.
we have
All
the
the
cows,
cows
I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, all the painting.
Response to them, but
Yeah.
so, but my question for like the pop-up, is that something that there's a specific committee in the town that could be a liaison with us to help facilitate that? Because I'm happy to provide like the pad site next to Cellos, as long as they're not hosting Cinco de Cellos or whatever it is, for like an art installation, but again, like,
Somebody has to.
somebody has to coordinate it, because, we're not,
Right.
again,
Yes.
I'm not the art
It has to be.
teacher, right?
Yeah.
And
Right.
Yes,
so I didn't know if there was a specific.
There is like
So-
17 committees. that we can.
So that's the thing, Laura, kind of going back to like the crux of everything
Right.
is in the town staff. I don't think that anybody could point to one particular person, if anything, and we're all agreeing, oh, probably be Felicia. You know, who
Or
like,
you recruit me,
Felicia
or you
brings all the culture into the
Well, I
town.
have a
and,
feeling
like,
that Felicia is gonna
So-
solicit one of these young people to join her committee.
Right.
to help
She already has, she already has.
So, I don't
Already
know,
has.
I've seen Felicia work,
Yeah.
I know she's gonna be on it, but I just didn't know, like, if that was, in terms of what are asked of us as a town, before we have to wait another 3-4 months to have a
Right.
meeting, is that something that we could kind of ask the town to do some research
The
on?
other idea that we have, talking about exactly the umbrellas on the meetings that we have, is like all that places that are currently empty right now. Put it like in places where people can take pictures, maybe art stuff on their outside, so people, you know, it's exactly, or no, whatever.
There's town restrictions on what we can put on the windows, what we have.
That's what we wanted to
The
bring.
palm leaves is like as adventurous as we were meant to allow to be, I believe. We were just trying to bring some color rather than just like brown paper or like paper. But yeah, you
But
know,
it's part of the plan. I
Yeah.
think, I think, and for what I have heard, if we just give them a plan, most likely they will approve. If there is bringing, I don't know, colors and designs and stuff like that and arts on those windows. So people can want to come and take pictures and create something artistic. I think should not be a problem. I'm not saying ghetto, I'm saying
Yeah,
artistic.
I think a big thing with the town is we just want to avoid, and the reason why we did this in the first place was to avoid a lot of the bureaucracy that comes with the
Correct.
town, you know, that can slow things down. So with that sense, like what Romy's been saying, I think the move is to get together privately, you guys, come up with some sort of solutions and how, what the town can do. And then you have direct connection to the EDC and to the Cultural Affairs Committee. We can, you know, try to talk directly to Felicia, and once we have a more of a concrete thing that you can present to the town, that's what the town needs. They just need something concrete that they can look at and say, you know, this is something we can act on. Yes, no, you know, and they can vote on it. It's just when we start going through the whole process with the town and building it up with the town, that's when we get the situation like this, where we have to wait month to month, meeting to meeting. We can't talk privately, so that's why it gets
so
bogged
I
down.
guess like you bring a moon, right? How much does a moon cost? Like to have a moon on Main Street, right? Or how much do the umbrellas cost? Yeah, no, and my point being that I don't know the town's budget cycle and when these asks need to be made, because if they're not made like a year and a half in advance, you won't get them, right? Because if there's not money to replace the light bulbs in the very important lights, then a lit up moon or pretty umbrellas. I know you're saying like the town will prove it, but again, we beg them to replace light bulbs. So I just want to make sure we're understanding the budgetary cycle and the facility to make these things happen and not being frustrated when they don't because we didn't follow the proper channels in terms of budgeting and committee.
Yeah, I think we need to, I think the umbrellas, I love them, I went when they had in Garden Gables and the moon, we need to do something different.
Oh, yeah.
No, I just mean in general.
Yeah,
I
example.
don't need to bring the moon to us,
But
but-
for example, so Isle or Felicia, you guys would probably know best. If, let's say, one of their ideas is they want to bring an art installation into town, whatever it is, I don't care, it could be a blue Martian on the Chella's lawn, just as an example. Who would they have to go to in the town to A, discuss that project, and B, if there's any kind of town arts, cultural funding that could be appropriated to bring that art installation as a, you know, a talking piece to the town, what committee, budget, et cetera, would they go to? Cultural
In
affairs?
terms of funding, your easiest way is cultural affairs.
Okay. so
They,
does that
they
answer your
have,
question?
Well, I
In the
would say,
timing of the request.
Now they
Like, when do they develop a budget? for the
so
next
cultural
year?
affairs, all
They
the
can't
committees are
fix-
given a budget, our fiscal year is actually coming to an end for end of September, and we go into a new fiscal year at first day of October. So the committees at this point don't know yet, but they're gonna know soon what their budget is for the next year.
Yeah.
The committees have already kind of given a
I was gonna say,
plan
right,
of
not
where they're
I
Yeah.
know that we're toting
Yeah.
low taxes, which means low budgets,
Right.
and you guys already have full budgets.
I was
And,
gonna
and so
say,
I just,
yeah.
I'm just trying to express that because I'm concerned that there's this expectation of some
Right.
cooperation
And
from the town that's not feasible,
I
and I
do-
don't wanna ask for something. that's
And
not
they
feasible.
are a board and they are to decide,
Yeah.
like Felicia may say yes, but essentially it's a whole board, you know.
Cause it means you're cutting something else
Yeah,
that's
you're not
valued
gonna
and
give up
appreciated
something.
and
Yeah,
established.
so
But
just so you
this
guys know,
is gonna go up.
budgets for the committees, including cultural affairs, they've already been set for the year.
Right.
So anything that would be requested now would have to cut away from something that they may have already planned on, but again, an amazing blue-green Martian on the cello song might outweigh anything else that they already have planned, so we never know, right? But I think, I think to give people direction, you know, you guys come up with what you want, right? Obviously understanding that there's not much of a budget, so any additional expense would have to come either through reworking the marketing budget that already exists, working with town funds that already exist. Felicia did mention, which I think is very valuable, and I think it's a big part of the conversation, that grant. Yep, the grant is very important,
I mean,
yep.
they told me, I mean, today it was a wonderful
Yeah.
workshop. And if you want to watch it again, I'll send you the link, and they tell you what resources they have. And they don't have the state resources, but, they have a lot of foundations and stuff.
Take those grants from the town,
Yeah.
like who facilitates
I mean,
getting
if
a grant?
to go after it, it would be, we have a grants coordinator, I guess it would be,
Yeah.
but
They do grants for the,
Right,
right? It's not
They're talking-
Right, yeah.
specific to culture.
But this is what I talk about, like the pre-planning, because when we saw the Gables one go up, we met with the communications department, our little department at that time for. Not clear. We want, like, what is our move? What can we do for our move? And the issue is. Besides that space over Cello's and down Main Street, there's not really a place for us to install it, so if we ask. For a space, it's gonna have to be on Main Street, which is beautiful, like that is the place to do it. It's just, I mean, I don't know exactly why it didn't happen, or it sort of devolved from some installation to, and I mentioned it to Felicia, I threw out an idea of like a paint by numbers mural that people can come in and do, and they'll pay them like a nominal fee to do something like at some installation somewhere. It just comes down to like funding, because for solicitations for murals done by a professional, like in other cities, they can go up to
Very
like
expensive.
$100,000 for a mural, which is, it's gonna need retouches, it's gonna need more than just a draw, you have to have events around the mural, or in this case, the moon, like they had events under it, with it at night and daytime, like. It was not just, hey, let's install something somewhere, so that's where I kind of get into the discussions of. And I understand the need or the desire to avoid like the red tape and bureaucracy, but sometimes. Things like that, it has to come into this like again, what do we want our town to look like? It's something to
But
be
I
honest.
think at the end of the day, and I think in the next meeting, we can kind of put the things that we can do now. And then what the seeds that we're planting for the future. Because I think these and what we really want is not something that it happens, oh yeah, they changed the barricades and now the barricades are moved, and you know, it's a matter of continuity, right? Our events, we have done it the first year, okay, next year, a little bit better, third year, better. So and we cannot get disappointed for the bad results of one event. I think it's a continuous movement until you start seeing results. So I hope that we can plan for a long-term strategy and act on the things that we can act quickly as soon as we can, taking in consideration everything that we talk about. Because I know that some of us were not that happy that, you know, there's not a conclusion or action plan, stuff like that, but at the end of the day, we have to do as much as we can and push it forward.
I think it's, you know, it's a start of a conversation. I just Googled real quick because I was like, I don't know, how do you find a public installation in a big city? And something that I found, just so you guys understand, I mean, we're really like just starting to chip away at this huge monument, right? That we're trying to undertake. The city of Coral Gables has a public art master plan that I just found online. Like, that's how much thought and effort, and I'm telling you, like, this is not something, you know, we're working with what we've got, right? We're a very tiny municipality in comparison. You know, this is a volunteer army, it really is, because the grant companies is a private company, they're here, you know, I don't know, I don't think you guys clock in overtime, you're here because you wanna be here, right? We don't get paid for this. You guys are here taking away time from your businesses. Felicia does it because, you know, it's something that she enjoys doing, but this is all volunteer work. So, you know, we have to manage our expectations, right? With what can we deliver with the resources that we have? Until one day, maybe, you know, we become the next Paul Gable, that'll be super exciting, right? But for now, we have to work with what we've got, right? Even better, I agree.
That was a
Um,
part, what?
I'm sorry,
Master plan?
they have a public art master plan. Like, you know, we're trying to work on just, you know, like a master plan for the town, and they have a public art master plan, which
I
is.
throw that out, that freaking-
Which is like over,
Those
I
are-
mean, it's over 50 pages long, just so you guys like, that's the level that, you know, that we're looking at here, so that's
What is the-
amazing.
What is the budget?
Well, I don't even know, I didn't even go there. But point being, you know, the point being, the most, you know, the most important stuff is the first step, so. I love you guys, but it's almost 8 o'clock at night, I think everybody wants to go, so.
We'll set up a meeting, we'll send it by the end of the week, we'll send out an email.
And someone come to the economic development committee. the group.
That, that's the thing is that, you know, not everything
meeting
happens
is
in one
the,
meeting, so, I mean, obviously, thankfully, Carlos is really involved and, you know, he can continue to fill in Economic Development Committee, but Economic Development Committee meetings, you know, that's how we got here today. Our meetings are once a month, they're open to the entire town, they are posted on the Town of Miami Lakes website, I know there's 15
They're right
websites,
here.
but, you know.
Next meeting is August
They're
20.
here. And, you know, the
August
first thing we
20th.
do is that we start with public comments from people around town. A lot of times we hope that it's business owners that bring attention to these kinds of things where we can help, you know, so. That's the whole point, yeah. So before you guys leave, please find your name, add your email so that I can make sure that I have so that I can make sure that I have everyone's email so that this group doesn't get lost. And that way the conversation can carry on into your next meeting. And you know, we would love to know, you know, how it continues and if we can continue to facilitate anything. Economic Development Committee, we don't put on as many events as Cultural Affairs, but we do try and put on, you know, events that bring business people together and whatever we can do on Main Street, you know, obviously at our local patrons, you know, restaurants and establishments, we always want
And
them.
just to give an example, but for example, from the budget that we have, I know we can make some changes to contribute to anything that we gotta do.
Yeah, like the.
Just to
Yeah,
give
we'll-
you
we'll-
an example, not necessarily this year, because this year is already, but
Be next year.
there is things that they can be allocated. There is the fund and stuff like that, and I'm certain this is one, there is 17 with different budgets, different things that, you know, that's what I'm seeing, that there is opportunities.
What do you think next time?
Perfect. Awesome, thank